Okay, today I'm going to show you how you're going to put a gloss medium over your cupcake to help protect the color. Your cupcake has to be completely dry. There can be no wet paint. And you want to make sure you take a good look at it so that you can see from all sides, especially if you have things that stick up. You want to make sure that there's no white showing. So you want to look from below, turning it to make sure it's completely painted. If you notice any white spots, other than of course the inside, you would want to wait to put the glaze on and go back and fix the paint, okay? So the glaze is like runny milk, and it's in these containers here. You will take the lid off very carefully. And you can see that some of this is drying on the outside. You're going to take a soft bristled brush and you're going to just brush it on. I'm going to do the inside first. Even though I didn't paint this, I want to protect it. So I just apply it without a lot of brushing. You're going to be dabbing it more. This is kind of water-based, and our paints are water-based. So if you do a lot of scrubbing, going back over things after you've applied it, it can actually take the color off. So it's not something that you want to necessarily be playing around with. One quick coat is all that you need. Just make sure you get all the color. Now, because this is wet, I need to let it dry. So I will be setting it down, upside down, and then I can work on this section. So again, I'm going to do the inside first, quickly brushing on it, and you can see it looks wet, or on the color it kind of has a sort of a milky film to it. Quickly applying it, and it doesn't have to be very thick either. Okay, just making sure that I get all the little nooks and crannies, and this is going to help protect the color and keep it where it is. Right now, if I take something wet on this, I can actually rub the paint off of it. Okay, now I have both of my things wet. This one I'm not sure is quite dry yet, but it's getting close. You can kind of see where it becomes shiny and it doesn't have that milky part anymore. Then you know that it is dry. You might need to wait a little bit longer, but for the sake of the video, I'm just going to carefully hold the edges. And again, I'm going to dab at it. Now, when you're working with color, you probably want to work with the lighter colors first. And again, making sure you get your edges. I'm trying to get the light green done first. And I'm going very quickly over the brown. If I go back and try and fix something on the brown, I can actually take that brown off and put it in places I don't really want it. Okay, so I have that pretty much covered, and then I can go, yep, the inside, I felt it with my fingers, is now dry, so I can hold it with the inside and quickly applying a coat, making sure that it turns wet again. That way you know that it is covered. And just going over it very quickly. This will dry clear and make it nice and shiny, and it even kind of brightens the color a little bit. So here's the brown that isn't coated. If you look on the edges here, you can see how it's shiny a little bit. That is how it will all look when it's finished. Now here, if you want to do this, I have those little marks that I made. So I'm going to need to brush a little bit more vertical so that I can make sure I get in those. Dipping often. You could even glaze the bottom of this to help keep it protected and clean. Dipping often, making sure you go all the way to the edges. Everything should look kind of wet as you go around. I have just this one little spot here. Now when you finish with this, you're going to let them dry overnight. It may appear to dry quickly, but you don't want to rush this and then have it get on things. This glaze that we're putting on it, it's called an acrylic gloss medium. this actually can stain things, so we don't want to be messing around with it too much. Now I'm going to set this upside down to dry. And then this brush, I want you to do your best washing it out, but I'm also going to have you put it in a wet or in a container full of water, bristles down to soak. If this brush doesn't get cleaned very well, it's going to turn rock solid and we won't be able to use it again. So you will clean it, stick it in the container that will be by the sink with other brushes in it, let it soak, and I'll just do a final check to make sure they're clean.